Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. I just have to sit there and wait for about 15 to 20 seconds before I say what I have to say. Because YouTube. So I feel like hell froze over. I feel like hell finally froze over on this show in some ways. Spencer actually being nice to Valentine, shaking his hand, being nice to Esme since they're saying that she's a good mother, taking selfies with the baby. Don't get me wrong, that was all cutesy and everything like that. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like that was kind of my favorite part, which clearly hell was actually freezing over in the real world as well because we all know how I feel about my guy Spencer. I'm not gonna lie, it was nice that they're seeing them just bonding and taking pictures and selfies and stuff like that. So yeah, we all know where this is going. Oh no, this is going. I sat there and seen them taking pictures and stuff. I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure for right now. For right now, it's the end of Springer Nation. It's the end of Springer Nation. Well, let's be honest. This is the end for a couple of reasons. Not just because of that and the writing being on the wall with that part, but I mean the actor, being on Netflix. So to be honest, even if he wasn't there, I feel like at the very least he'll be on a temporary stall for a good while. So we got that going on. We got Olivia. At first, in the beginning, she snapped at Nina because Nina was, getting frustrated about the wedding and stuff, and Olivia was like, she said something about crazy, and Olivia snapped at her, talking about, oh, because of the whole. She was mad that Ned was out partying out like there was no tomorrow, and because he doesn't remember who he is. He has no attachments to Olivia. It's a damn be just out there being um I guess the buck gotta sit there and start with me at this point. But he can be going out there just hooking up with a bunch of people, okay? And she doesn't want that and possibly having him fall in love with somebody else. So she snapped at her talking about, oh, you're with Sonny because, he couldn't remember Carly. And I'm just, at first I was like, bro, I was like, I don't even like Nina, but you need to sit there and tone that down. Like, she didn't sit there and say anything to you. She did apologize. Nina was actually being nice to her and just kind of just comforting her. Of course, it got to that one point when they start talking about how Carly still thinks that Ned did it. Long story short, now you got Olivia planning Sonny and Nina's wedding. So yeah, we got that going on. We got Bricks that they're catching Sonny up on on these different players so far, as far as Austin, Betty, and of course Mason. And he goes through the roster of everyone, trucking company and Pawtucket, and just shady stuff. Now, when Sonny tells Brick that what happened with Ava and the blackmailing and everything like that. Because at first Brooke was like, all right, so how about we just sit there and just take these people out and just be done with them? Sonny's like, we can't do that yet because, they're blackmailing Ava with Nicholas and also Dahlia. They didn't sit there and say Dahlia, but they did sit there and say Nicholas. And long story short, I'm going to just sit there and say this right off the bat. Sonny was like, when we get that body back, it's a wrap. It is a wrap. I'm gonna be honest. I think that Austin's gonna be fine because for the most part, he did play ball. He did sit there and try to help um, Ava out in this situation. With Betty's a woman. I don't think that with Claudia was a little bit different, but for the most part, Sonny, he has this code of not really, using violence and stuff like that towards women. So I'm pretty sure Betty's going to be fine. Mason, on the other hand, well, that's yeah. Unless there's divine intervention, just saying, it's not looking good for Mason. I'm gonna be honest. Time will tell. That's just my personal opinion, but yeah. Now, Anna was talking to Robert about Pikeman, right? And she remembered a conversation that she was having with somebody else debriefing her. And then in this person's briefcase, it actually said Pikeman. So she went back to her place and she was drawing some sort of diagram or whatever. And in the center of it was Valentine. Now, Valentine comes in her house and she confronts Valentine about, knowing the shooter and possibly him too as well. See, my whole thing is I would sit there and think, it's Alex, right? It's Alex. It could be Pikeman. That's what I'm thinking she's going to say. She's not going to sit there and say Alex. She's going to sit there and say it's Pikeman. I don't know why, but I feel like it's going to be Pikeman, just like it wasn't Alex last time. It was just somebody with a mask on, and you know what? I already talked about that verbatim. Now um, after Diane, her one free hour was, I wouldn't sit there and say wasted, but interrupted by Cody Smith saying that he's not going to press charges on Sasha. Diane went to Robin and was like, hey, listen, Cody ain't pressing charges, so I feel like we should just sit there and just dismiss this whole thing. And of course, Robert's like, but there's witnesses. Like, there's witnesses. So, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I know sometimes depending on the case, the severity and stuff like that, they may sit there and decide to act regardless as far as pressing charges. Even if the person doesn't want to press charges and doesn't want to sit there and cooperate, they'll sit there and do it anyway. But after that, Diane was there talking about a car show, inviting him to a car show, and Robert was like, well, I already have a car, and yada yada yada. And then Diane decided to take the tickets. Was like, well, I'm gonna go with Alexis because at least she's gonna, appreciate my time or whatever. And just walks off, and I'm just like, I was kind of confused by that because I was just like, did he not respond fast enough to you, or do you feel like he didn't want to be with you? I don't know what the hell they're doing at this point. I know they're trying to just slow burn romance or whatever, but I don't know. Maybe Robert's not ready to sit there and move on. Because, she was talking about, attachments and stuff like that as far as his old car and trying a new model and yada, yada, yada. And I think, now I'm sitting there working through, I think that's probably what it was. I think that, he's not really ready to let Holly go. And Diana's like, okay, all right, cool. I tried, bye, and just walked off. And to be honest, if that's the case, then, I mean, there's plenty of other men that want to sit there and date her. Like, Robert, you want to date her? That's your loss. And the rest of this world's gain as far as anybody else wants to sit there and date her. So, I would sit there and say to Robert, buy a dog and die alone. And you know where that sentence comes from? I don't even have to sit there and say it. Gladys is a real piece of work. It's like, and the thing is, like, Gladys isn't even like a villain. Like, people seem to saying that she's not a villain. She's just a horrid human being. Like, she's not there she's not there talking to Scout about her dad being in prison and stuff like that, and be like, oh, so what is it like your dad being in a slammer? And Sam is like, what the hell? Like, I'm just like, are you serious? Because at first she was sitting there starting off with, "Oh yeah, you were being really mean to me when I was sitting there touching your fancy clothes or whatever." And then she says something like that, and I'm looking at Sam. I was like, Sam, if this was here's the thing, if this was the old Sam, if this was the old Sam would have beat the living bricks off of her. Okay, the old Sam would have literally beat the living bricks off of her. But since Sam has children, and you have a lot more to lose, she just got in her face and pretty much just kind of threatened her as far as pushing her in the pool. I'm like, nah, that type of act doesn't cause for pushing her in the pool. That type of act calls for beating the living bricks off of her. But of course, they were talking about Sasha, and of course, Sam kept hinting at the fact that without actually saying that you must do something to set her off. Or Gladys, she just denies, and then just kind of walks off. So you got that going on. Um, you got Cody that was trying to see Sasha, saying that he was Dante Falconeri. Now, you had two nurses there. You had Nurse Janice and Nurse somebody, right? Janice was not playing. Janice was on some no joke, no BS policy. By the way, I think that's the actor that plays Chase. That is his real life wife. I gotta say she actually did a good job for not doing that much, except for just being like the strict no play by the rules nurse. Her acting was on point. And I sit there and I look at this. I'm just like, remember a long time ago, Cameron, Drew, actor plays, Cameron decided to bring his actual wife to the show for like no reason whatsoever. Like it was literally no reason. Oh, she's some sort of consultant firm or consultant person or something. Literally no reason. This was literally just out of nepotism. But at least Chase's wife actually did something on the show. So if they bring her back, I'm cool with it. Long story short, she was like, "Yo, listen, I want to see Nadine." Cody's like, "Well, it's really far apart." She was like, "All right, well then, we're open for a while." I'm sorry, why are you still staying here for pretty much? She was making sure that he was not getting in. Meanwhile, you got Sasha that is so messed up with all these different medications and drugs or whatever that doctor gave her. And she didn't even remember how she got there. She didn't remember how she got there. And that doctor came in and made sure that Sasha does not have any more outside calls. Also, at this point, she doesn't even remember the doctor drugging her the last time. So now he comes back in there with like different pills or whatever, like, yeah, we found this in your system, you relapsed, and yada, yada, yada. And here's the thing for me, right? Look at this whole story, this whole Sasha story. Again, there's a lot of people that's looking at this and feel some sort of way about it. They feel like it's too dark. Putting themselves in a situation. And like see for me, I'm enjoying this. I'm not enjoying her being drugged. I'm enjoying just the story so far. I don't feel like I feel like it's compelling and I want to sit there and see where it goes, but I know that there's some people that's looking at this story and it's just like it's too dark, and I'm just like, well then what do you want? Like I guess for me personally, it's like when people sit there, like, and a lot of times I'll be like, oh man, GHC was born, yada, yada, yada. It's like, okay, this was actually pretty interesting. And when people sit there and say it's too dark, I'm just like, what do you want? What do you want? Friday's episode, nothing happened. At least today's episode, stuff happened. And granted, yeah, it did get, I can understand it bothers some people, but I'm just like, I'd rather have that than boringness, Like, at least today was actually doing stuff. That's pretty much about it. I think that's actually about it. All in all, I was sitting there and say this was a decent episode. Surprisingly, I don't know. Like Friday's episode was just lacking. Even for a Friday's episode, was like, bro. But today was actually pretty decent. So, here's the thing. I know that these are like temporary writers and stuff like that, and it's very hard to sit there and write for characters that they're not really too familiar with, where they can't just sit there and think off the top of their head. Like, I think this person would do that. I think this person would say this. I think this person's actions direction will be a certain way because they're used to sit there writing it. So I'll sit there and say, for the most part, they are doing a decent job, especially given what they have, given with the budget and everything. I give them their points. So, anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank you for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.